Hi everyone, if you enjoy my story please subscribe my channel Voice of Auntie Zoe, and stay updated. I lived in a quiet corner of London, in a charming terraced house in Camden, where the streets were lined with old trees and the sound of the canal lipped gently against its banks. It was a home filled with memories of my late husband, James, a man with a warm smile, a love for jazz, and an uncanny knack for fixing things. We'd spent 20 years weaving laughter and routines into every nook. The night it happened, I had no warning. No storm, no creaks in the old wooden floorboards. I slept deeply, exhausted from a day of sorting through James's belongings, the ache of his passing still raw. But at 3:47 a.m., I jolted awake. In the dream, James stood at the foot of our bed, his eyes serious in the way they got when he was fixing a broken faucet. Elena, get out. Now, he whispered, his voice low and urgent. No explanation. No goodbye. Just those 3 words. I sat up, heart pounding, feeling the sweat on my brow. It was just a dream, I told myself. But the urgency lingered, a cold thread pulling at me. I threw off the covers, grabbed my coat, and without thinking, ran out of the house into the London night. The air was crisp, with a hint of autumn's decay. The streetlights cast long shadows as I stood on the sidewalk, disoriented. No alarms sounded. No flames licked the windows. The house looked peaceful, as if it mocked me for running. I hesitated, wondering if I'd let grief play tricks on me. But James's voice lingered, get out, I walked a few paces down the street, breath fogging in the chill, and called a neighbor, Mrs. Patel, who lived a few doors down. Mrs. Patel, could you check the house for me? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She came over, concern etched on her face. Together, we approached the house cautiously. Everything seemed normal. I unlocked the door, stepping inside first. The hallway was dark, silent. That's when I saw it. The days that followed were a haze. I didn't sleep much. I scoured London's occult shops in Bloomsbury, spoke to practitioners who whispered warnings about feeding the shadows. No one knew what James had sought, but they sensed danger. I cleaned the house, erasing the circle, putting back the photos. Slowly, bit by bit, I let the ordinary seep back in. One night, as rain tapped on the windows, I heard a faint note of saxophone from the empty living room. James's old sax, untouched for months, played a single melancholy phrase. I followed the sound to the chalk-marked floor, now scrubbed clean. No instrument played itself. He was still there. I didn't run this time. I sat down in the silence, letting the music linger. And I talked, to James, to the shadows. I told them I was staying. That I'd unravel whatever he started, but on my terms. The house in Camden still holds whispers. Sometimes, late at night, I smell old books or feel a brush on my shoulder. I leave the sax out, the candles unlit. I know James warned me to run, but I stayed. To understand. To let him go. And maybe, in the staying, I'll find what he left unfinished. Thanks for watching. The living room was different. The walls, once adorned with James's photographs and our travel souvenirs, were stripped bare. The furniture was pushed aside, covered in dust. The air smelled stale, like a room long abandoned. But it was the center of the room that drew my breath away, a chalk circle, intricate symbols etched into the floorboards, candles burnt low at each point of a pentagram. I felt a shiver crawl up my spine. "What is this?" Mrs. Patel whispered, cluing closer to me. I didn't know. James had been researching things. Folks in Camden whispered about his interest in the esoteric, how he'd attended gatherings in dimly lit basements studying the old ways. I'd dismissed it as curiosity. But this felt like a warning come true. We didn't touch anything. I called the police, my hands shaking as I explained it to the officer who arrived. They took notes, searched the house, but found no signs of forced entry. No clues to what had been done or why. They left, leaving me with more questions. As the night wore on, I pieced together fragments. James had been working on something, a project he'd kept secret. The dream, it wasn't just a warning. It was a goodbye. The next morning, I began searching the house methodically. In James's study, tucked behind his books on London's hidden histories, I found a journal. Entries spoke of an experiment in unbinding, a term I didn't understand, to sever ties to a place, to leave no trace. He'd been afraid something would follow him, something he'd uncovered. The chalk circle, the symbols, it was a binding ritual, left unfinished. And I had interrupted it by leaving.